Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order this called meeting of the Arlington ISD Board of Trustees on November 16th, 2020 at 4:50 p.m. Due to health and safety concerns related to COVID-19 coronavirus, this meeting will be conducted simultaneously in person and by video conference or telephone call. At least a quorum of the board will be participating in person. All or some trustees and limited staff will be together while maintaining proper social distancing at room 301A in the McBurn Professional Development Center. Due to ongoing safety concerns, all open meetings proceedings will be live broadcast, but members of the public will be limited in the McBurn Professional Development Center pursuant to state guidelines and regulations. And all persons will be required to comply with state and district guidelines and regulations. Members of the public may access this meeting via AISD website at AISD.net. At this time, we're going to continue an open session. We'll start our meeting with the opening ceremony. Please join Ms. Fowler in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Please make sure all cell phone or devices, and if you're online, please make sure you are on mute unless speaking. Now, if you would, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Ms. Mays cannot be here tonight, so I am Bowie Hogg conducting the meeting as the Vice President of the Board of Trustees. We do have a slight adjustment to our agenda. We will not be going into an early closed session. We will go into our open forum and handle our agenda, and then we will go into closed session with the expectation of potentially not taking action and coming back out just to close the meeting. So with that, we will go into our open forum for agenda items. As stated on the posted agenda, members of the public who desire to address the board regarding an item on this agenda are required to register by sending an email to the superintendent of schools, Benjamin at AISD.net later than 3 p.m. the day of the board meeting. Ms. Benjamin, do we have requesters registered to address the board regarding agenda items? There you go.
There we go. Yes, sir. We have 10 registered speakers. The first 3 are Tammy Martin, Ashley Quartz, and Yashunda Merriweather.
Thank you, Ms. Benjamin. And we will be calling names and keeping everyone ready so that we can go through this and have you prepared to come on. So we will start with Ms. Martin. Ms. Martin, let me just read this, and if other folks are on there, I'll try not to read this. I'm not going to read this for each person. I'll probably read it for every 3. This is a routine part of the school board's agenda for regularly scheduled meetings. This segment of this meeting provides citizens with an opportunity to share their views with trustees on items that are on the agenda tonight. It is not intended to be a discussion or debate, and trustees will not reply to speakers. Derogatory comments aimed at an individual will not be tolerated, and I will stop you. Personnel matters are not appropriate subjects for open matters. You will have 5 minutes to speak, and Ms. Benjamin will notify you when your time is up. We are going to start first, and we'll give always a second to make sure you're ready, and I won't start your time until we know that we can hear you. I see someone on there. I hope that's Ms. Martin. Ms. Martin, is that you?
It is.
And I can hear you, Ms. Martin. So at this time, we'll start. Go ahead, Ms. Martin.
First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me speak tonight. And I just want to, the reason I'm coming to speak to you is to talk to you about Coach Ridgway, Kathy Ridgway at Seguin High School. We've been hearing some false accusations and lies about her. I wanted to let you know about the Coach Ridgway that I know. She is a true woman of virtue. She is a strong leader, a positive inspiration. She treats each student with the utmost respect. treats each student equally, no matter their race or who they may be in relationships with. She requires every student athlete at Seguin to represent Seguin in the utmost high regard as any coach would. My family has known Ms. Ridgway for the last 3.5 years, and never have I seen her present any of the accusations that's been made against her. I believe that the staff that reported these accusations were done in malice and in self-gain. You may ask me why, and I'll tell you why. In March of this last year before COVID hit, the girls' Seguin's track team was having a track tournament. I have never met Coach O'Neill, and at that moment, she came up to speak to me. For the Seguin track team. However, she was coming to tell me, ask me if my niece, who was biracial, had been mistreated by Ms. Ridgway. I explained to her that I've never noticed that. She started explaining to me how Ms. Ridgway had treated her very wrongly because she had a biracial daughter, and was telling me all the stuff that was going on in volleyball that I've never, ever experienced. And I kept telling her, this is not the Coach Ridgway I know, but she continued to tell me. By the end of the conversation, or should I say the whole track meet, she was telling me how her and Coach Hill wanted to take over the volleyball program.
Hey, Ms. Barton, I'm going to ask you to make sure we're not doing any derogatory comments on personnel items there on there. So please amend as you go forward, please.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I just want that she is a very awesome coach. She's been very inspirational to my niece and other students. I just think that they need to look more into this. Her and her husband have given many years to Arlington ISD with no issues, and I think that needs to be an account. Her husband, to this day, he's still at Seguin. Even though it's hard for him to go through this, he stands with the most excellence to do his job, and he does it daily, even though I know he's going through a lot not having her there, and because she helps him with coaching too. So I just want y'all to know that Ms. Catcher Ridgway is an awesome lady, and I just don't like what's happening to her, and I just want y'all to know that the stuff that people are saying is for self-gain and not for what's really going on. That's all I have to say.
That's perfect. Thank you, Ms. Martin. I know we also received an email from you, so we've read that. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your time tonight, Ms. Martin.
No problem. Thank you.
Next up, we have an Ashley Courts. Is Ashley there? We'll give it a time. If we're Frank in the back, if Ashley does jump on and we're still going under this section, I would be more than willing to allow them to come on. Next, we'll move into a Miss Yashundra Merriweather. I don't have a Yashundra on there. The next three, Miss Benjamin, is it Miss Janice Burney, Cynthia Thomas, and Michael Murphy? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We'll move next to Janice Burney. Frank, is Janice Burney on there? Awesome. Let me see. Let's get at least audio. I see. Miss Burney, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Miss Burney, please go right ahead. And hopefully you heard what I read earlier. We're all for comments on, we do have to be careful about derogatory comments over personnel because they are not here. So please continue, and your 5 minutes will start now.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to speak in behalf on Catra Ridgway. I've known Catra since 2004. My daughter she ran track, and so she was at Seguin from 2004 to 2008. I was the Booster Club president for the track and volleyball team. And my daughter's graduated high school, graduated college, got her master's, working on her doctor's in education. I just wanted to say that I don't know anything negative, and I've never heard out of all those years that I've been with her up until just recently, had I never heard anything negative about Coach Ridgway. She is not a racist. She is not a homophobic. She's a very kind-hearted person, because had she not been, I would not still been there all of those years. I attend the athletic luncheons that they have and meet with everybody. I'm a retired educator myself, as well as I had my own child care. I pre-rated kindergartens, 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds for kindergarten and first grade. So I know, and I've been around a long time. I'm a product of 76, 77, 78. So in education. So I kind of know my way around, and I know how teachers are. I know you have those that just teach just to be teaching, just to get a check, but you have those that are really genuinely concerned about kids. And she is one, that's why I stayed so long up until recently, that she's one that I know that genuinely cares. She will go past me sometime, and I know I'm a good-hearted person, but she's even better than I am. And I tell her that all the time. You're better than I am, because I probably would have not went that route with that situation. But I would hate to see this board take her hard-earned time, money, education, her certification. I would hate to see you all do that. Because to me, it would show that this board is not about the students, that this board is about their own selfish way and want to take something from her that she worked so hard for, just as you and everybody else did. They didn't give you your degree. You had to work and earn it. And you would hate for somebody to bring something frivolous against you and threaten to take your job away where your position is right now. So I just hope that you consider that, that she's not a bad person, and there's always two sides to a story. And if you've only listened to one side and you only see one side in your mind, then you're not looking at the whole truth, the truth decay. You're not looking at the truth. Because all of you have degrees, and you've sat probably in, I don't know how many classrooms before. If you've been an educator, you've sat in a classroom, you know how kids are, and you know what they'll do. But you wouldn't want nobody to take that degree, that bachelor's, that master's, that doctor's, any other degrees of accolades that you have. You wouldn't want nobody to take that from you just because they don't know the full story and going on hearsay. So if it please you, I would say, don't take it away from her. She's a good-hearted person. She's not an evil person. She's not a vindictive person either. And that's what I have to say. I just pray upon this board that you do the right thing and not take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Miss Burney. Thank you for your comments. And we can't make comments, but thank you for all your years of educating students and working with students. Next, we'll move on to Cynthia Thomas. Is Cynthia Thomas on there? I don't see Cynthia. So then we'll move on to the next three, would be Michael Murphy, David Hill, and Renwick Ridgway. Is Michael Murphy on there? Mr. Murphy, is that you?
Yes, sir.
There you go, and I can hear you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy, your 5 minutes will begin now.
Hold on, hold the phone.
We won't start you till you start, Mr. Murphy.
I had to make sure I shut the other part off. All right.
That's okay. Go ahead, Mr. Murphy. We can hear you fine.
Wonderful. I've known Catra Ridgway since 2002. We started teaching and coaching together when Seguin opened. She's been my colleague, my counselor, and a friend for the past 18 years. Catra is intelligent, compassionate, patient, and extremely competent. She continually puts her student athletes' interests before hers. As an example, in 2014, our head volleyball coach quit before school started. Finding a quality replacement was going to be impossible. Catra offered selflessly to step in and coach the volleyball team. She was told by our athletic coordinator that in doing so, she would have to give up her head cross-country and track positions and their stipends. She didn't hesitate. Her track team went on to win Seguin's first and only state title the following spring. Catra could have been the head coach of the state championship team. Instead, she knowingly gave that up for the girls at Seguin. Each year, former students, girls and boys, athletes, non-athletes, come back regularly to seek out Miss Coach Ridgway and to thank her for her encouragement and guidance. which they may not have appreciated at the time. She has had a positive impact on kids for over hundreds of kids over the years. The accusations that brought us to this point should have been addressed by campus administration and resolved on campus. Instead, the principal and HR conducted a one-sided investigation, one of scare tactics, intimidation, with the sole purpose of keeping it out of the public's view and to discredit CATRA. At no point does AISD look for positives to help balance their investigation. HR's report only uses negatives from their investigation, and the employees file as far back as they choose to go, with no follow-up investigation. For example, if they investigated fully, they would have found that the letter of reprimand blaming Coach Ridgway when a girl got lost at cross-country practice some years ago was in fact the fault of the boys' coach, not CATRA. The boys' coach received no such letter of reprimand. The district's lawyer, when questioning me at CATRA's hearing, only wanted to acknowledge that she received a letter of reprimand. We all see the obvious things, the awards, the wins, the championships. But the things that produce those celebrated moments are small interactions, one-on-one relationship building, listening empathetically to students crying about something personal because my mom wouldn't understand that I'm dating outside of my race, or my dad doesn't know that I'm gay. Coach Ridgway's compassion has helped many students at Seguin over the years, and she is missed on campus. As for the accusations that she created a hostile work environment, there were not enough facts included by the investigators. Assistant coaches need to be workers. These coaches were not ready for the requirements of the positions. The campus administrator, who hired them as teachers, did not talk about the full expectations of the coaching position. They were hired to fill a spot. The accusers had little to no coaching experience. That fact was probably left out. CATRA tried to coach them up, help them be successful, and the task that every volleyball coach in high school does is learn the basics of the game, take stats, do the video, be at practice. They continually fell short. CATRA had to take more and more of their responsibilities, and feelings were hurt. CATRA informed the athletic coordinator of the issues and documented a lack of performance. Is this a hostile work environment or a head coach doing her job while her assistants did not? As for the accusations of comments related to race and sexual orientation, these are real-life conversations that young adults go through. And to simplify it down to a few words from a larger conversation that someone was not part of does not bring the context or the nuance needed to make an educated evaluation of the situation. At the hearing, the district's lawyer asked me about these conversations. His goal was to make CATRA look bad. He only wanted yes or no answers, not answers that would bring context and nuance for the judge. Again, these issues should have been resolved on campus by simple discussion and listening to both sides impartially. This was not done. The principal chose to hear only one side. CATRA was harassed by district administration and the HR investigation, and then labeled a racist by 3 white coaches. How is this a fair process? AISD should be better than this. This one-sided narrative was started by a few, and then no one up the chain of command intervened with concerns of a narrow scope. The principal should have been redirected to get the whole story, not the one-sided version. This did not happen. That made the district's position not one of truth and support for all involved, but of having to save face and then support a campus administration's poor handling of the issue. This has continued for a full year. Have any of you
Mr. Murphy, your
Mr.
time
Murphy,
is up.
Thank you.
Right.
We can do better as a district, and as the board, it starts with you.
Perfect.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, for speaking tonight. Next up, we have David Hill, and then Renwick Ridgway and Christy Lawson. Is Mr. Hill, David Hill, on? I don't see a Mr. Hill. Next up, I have Renwick Ridgway. I don't see a Renwick Ridgway. The next 2 would be Christy Lawson and then Aaron Bass. Do we have Christy Lawson? No Christy Lawson. And do we have Aaron Bass? There's no Aaron Bass. Frank in the background and everything, have any of those shown up? Miss Ashley Courts, Yashunda Merriweather, Cynthia Thomas, David Hill, Ren Ridgway, Christy Lawson, or Aaron Bass? Are any of those on?
Mr. Hill, Ms. Bass were in the lobby, but they have left.
They have left? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for the comments from the public for our open forum for agenda items. Next on our agenda are action items. We only have one action item this evening, and that action item is action item A, canvass election returns for voter approval tax rate special election held on November 3rd, 2020. Dr. Cavazos.
Thank you, Vice President Hogg. Vice President Hogg and trustees, you have materials with respect to adopting an order canvassing the November 3rd, 2020 voter approval tax rate special election, which was held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. The materials include the following. 1, an official cumulative report of early votes and election day votes for and against from Tarrant County Election Administration. And 2, an official precinct report by polling location from Tarrant County Elections Administration. The results of the election are as follows. For 59,705 votes. Against 59,401 votes. If you accept this canvass of election to adopt the order canvassing the November 3rd, 2020 voter approval tax rate election, it would be appropriate to hear a motion to adopt the canvass at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Cavazos. I will now open up for discussion. And Dr. Cavazos, I'm going to ask one question. Does this canvass include all votes that have been counted? Will the Tarrant County Election Commission come back with any other votes?
Thank you, Vice President Hogg. And this includes all the votes, and all the votes have been counted.
Perfect. At this time, I'll open it up for any other discussion from any colleagues. If not, more than willing to take a motion. Any other discussion? Do I hear a motion? Mr. Chapa.
Thank you, Vice President Hogg. At this time, I move to adopt an order canvassing the November 3rd, 2020 voter approval tax rate election in the district and declaring the result thereof.
Thank you, Mr. Chapa. I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
And I hear a second from Mr. Wilbanks. Since this meeting is being conducted virtually, our vote will be a roll call vote. Please state your name and your vote, either yes or no in favor of the motion, or no if you're not in favor of the motion. Motion by Mr. Chapa, second by Mr. Wilbanks. We'll start directly across from me. Dr. Reich.
Aaron Reich, I vote yes.
Mr. Wilbanks.
David Wilbanks, I vote yes.
Ms. Walton.
Polly Walton, I vote yes.
Ms. Fowler.
Melody Fowler, I vote yes.
Mr. Chapa.
Justin Chapa, I vote yes.
Bowie Hogg, I vote yes. Ms. Mays is not here. A motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Cavazos. Thank you for that, and thank you to the Tarrant County Election Commission for always administering votes and administering for the first big one with digital.
Vice President Hogg.
Yes, ma'am.
Our requested speakers have managed to get back their technology and logged in, if you would like
Perfect.
to address them.
I will. Let me finish and make sure we are ready to come on with this. So we will move on, and I think Tarrant County Election Commission is the first major general election of doing all digital voting at any site where voters could go. I think their investment in technology has made it much more easier to vote. And let me just say, no matter whether you're for it or against it, the large amount of number of voters is always a good thing. You can never have a problem with more people voting. So we appreciate the large turnout and votes that came in. Ms. Benjamin, we will move back. Before, this was our only action item, so we will move back. Ms. Benjamin, who has now joined us for public comment?
We have Ashley Courts ready to speak.
Perfect. Ms. Courts, and you're back on, but let me go ahead. I do want to reread this. You will have 5 minutes. It's not intended to be a discussion or debate. Trustees will not reply to speakers. Derogatory comments aimed at an individual will not be tolerated. Personnel matters are not appropriate subjects for open forum, and I will stop you. You'll have 5 minutes to speak. Ms. Benjamin will notify you, as you heard. She's got a ring on her phone that you'll hear when the time is up. Please end your presentation. Ms. Courts, is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Awesome. I can hear you, Ms. Courts, and obviously you can hear us. So, Ms. Courts, your 5
Yes.
minutes begins now.
Okay, I just wanted to speak on behalf of Ms. Coach Ridgway. Coach Ridgway, I've known her for 4 years, well, 5, because I had my oldest, she played all 4 years volleyball with her on the, on varsity team. I actually 1 year was on the booster club. And I just wanted to say that the whole time that she had coached my children, she's always been respectful, always went above and beyond. As an example, Kayla, her freshman year, she was placed on varsity team and they traveled to San Antonio for a tournament. And that was the first time that Kayla was introduced to tournaments and wanted to do volleyball further. And if she, like I said, if she had not been introduced to that, she wouldn't have gone further and did club volleyball. She's always looked out for my daughter. If she saw that there was things that are changing between her, if there was a lack of enthusiasm or something that she thought was bothering her, she always brought that to my attention. A lot of things that came up helped me to, learn more about my daughter. But she brought the girls things that weren't even in the budget, which they barely had a budget for Booster Club for volleyball. Celebrating the girls' birthdays, just making sure the ladies knew. I think at every parent meeting that we had, it was always known that she wanted the ladies to carry themselves respectfully. They could go to her and talk to my girls, could go to her and talk to her about things that they weren't comfortable sharing with me. And I appreciated that because in a time like this, it's nice to know that some of the kids have someone, an adult that they can look up to, a mentor, someone they trusted that would be there for them. I know some of the allegations that were said against her. I don't agree with any of those at all. With some of the other speakers that spoke, I agree. There's, in the investigation, you are listening to probably 10 things that are negative, but not one thing that's good. And she has always provided an ear to listen to these girls on and off the court. She actually even helped my daughter get into college for her volleyball and would even come see her on her own time at her tournaments just to cheer her on. And there was times I couldn't do that, and she would just let Coach Ridgway know, and she would come to a tournament on a Saturday or a Sunday, her own private time, to cheer on a girl from her team. I just basically wanted to just say that I appreciated everything that she did for my girls. I think she was she is an amazing volleyball coach. I hope that she stays at Seguin. She's very positive. She's just all around just a good person. I just can't understand some of the things that were brought up against her. I've never witnessed any of that behavior or characteristics that they're trying to say, other than just being a great mom. And she's, not only being a teacher and a mom full time, but it's just a lot that she undertook and a lot of things that she did that she's not required to do. And again, she did personally out of her own. Like I said, the girls always were very happy to tell me that, hey, Coach Ridgway took us to eat here, or she brought us, all of us food, or we all had celebrated our birthdays together and things like that. And that, again, that budget because I was on the Booster Club 1 year, is literally nothing for volleyball. So a lot of that stuff, she came out of her own pocket to make sure that these girls felt supported and that they were able to do things as a team. And she always recommended team bonding. Everything was just so positive. There was never, the girls never played together and showed any type of discord or anything. Everybody, that was a family. That's how it was treated. We were all family, all carry ourselves respectfully, and we just all looked out for each other. And that was what she instilled in them the 4 years that she had Kayla, and then the 1 year I think that she coached with Kendra. But so that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Sorry.
No, Ms. Courts, thank you for your comments, and thank you for pulling over while you were driving. That made me a little nervous.
Yes.
That's a very start.
No, I pulled over.
No, thank you for doing that, and thank you for your comments. Thank you, and I'm glad we were able to get you on, Ms. Courts.
Thank you.
Ms. Benjamin, and Frank, let me ask, as Ms. Merriweather, Ms. Thomas.
Ms. Thomas is on,
Ms. Thomas is on. All right.
and Ms. Bass is waiting.
Awesome. So we've got Ms. Thomas and Ms. Bass up as the next two. Let's see if Ms. Thomas will come up on our screen.
I'm here.
Ms. Thomas, obviously we can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. Ms. Thomas, we're going to start your time right now, and your 5 minutes begins now.
Okay. Coach Catra Ridgway is my niece by marriage. And I would just like to say that I've known her even before she became a coach. I've known her for over 20 years. And the character and caliber of person that she is, I know that she goes above and beyond the call of duty to be able to achieve the goals that she has set for herself and for her students, that there is not anything that she would say or do that would jeopardize her position or her students or to break their spirits or anything. And I know that to be a person of that character, that she has sacrificed much family time, downtime for herself, as well as sacrificed family gatherings and other important occasions to be there for her students, pouring into them everything that she feels like they have the fullest potential to become. And so I can't see a comment being made by her to cause any harm to anyone, but only for it to be for their benefit. And so I would just like to say as a coach, as a mother, as a sister, all of the hats that she wears, that she gives more than 100%. And I love her, and I just want to speak on her behalf that I feel like that she's an asset to any facility that she is a part of, or whatever team that she's a part of, that she would be an asset to that, and it would be a loss for someone not to have her as part of their team.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Comet. Ms. Thomas, thank you for the kind words.
Yes.
Next, we'll move, I think we mentioned Ms. Bass is the next one we have on, and if you'll please, Frank, pull up Ms. Bass. Ms. Bass, let me know when you can hear me, and that way I'll know if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear something. Ms. Bass, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Ms. Bass, give me a, there we go.
Can you hear me?
There we go. You sound really good right now. Ms.
Oh,
Bass,
good.
your always takes a second to get this going. Ms. Bass, your 5 minutes begins now.
Thank you. Good evening, Arlington School Board members. I'm here on behalf of Coach Catra Ridgway and our family's personal experience under her leadership. My daughter started Seguin 2017, wow, in the summer of 2017, and we went to a volleyball interest meeting. And from the first meeting, clearly I could tell that she was about business, discipline, responsibility, ownership, and no room for anything less. She had a high expectation for apparently her girls, her team, and with them being under her leadership, expect them to do the same. Some experiences that my daughter had while with Coach Ridgway. First experience that she had was when the team traveled to Joshua to play a volleyball game. And the girls were harassed with racial slurs and other epithets from people in Joshua towards the girls of Seguin. And Coach Ridgway, like any other good coach or parent would, stood up for her kids and protected them to make sure they got out safely away from the harassment that team experienced. The coach shared with the girls in regards to never to be alone, obviously, as young ladies, and always have a group of 3 with them, which is very important for all kids and young adults to be with others and not be alone in certain places or areas, especially now that these kids are going off to school, knowing that it's better to be in a group of at least 3 to have that protection. Other experiences that she had with the volleyball team was Coach Ridgway was very stressed the importance of teamwork, stressed the importance of having the team do outings, like they went to the TCU volleyball game as a group, as a team. She also, which was a first experience that my child had under a coach, was volunteering at Mission Arlington, which I thought was amazing to teach the kids the importance of volunteering and giving back to the community and showing the kids that they are, better off than others. They might not be where they think they want to be, but they are, possibly better off than what some other people or other children may be. So that was important for my child to learn that lesson as well. Some other experiences that we've had was an incident in which occurred where the athletic director, also head coach, Seguin, intervened when my child was being harassed by the basketball team and followed throughout the day. And then students wanted to start a fight. My daughter went to Coach Ridgway, and Coach Ridgway was like, well, just tell, what happened. Don't, just relax. The video will come out. And sure enough, the video comes out. And we followed up with the assistant principal at the time in regards to what happened. And sure enough, despite what the director said in regards to my child instigating, the video clearly showed that it was the other student that instigated the initial assault. So our child was reprieved or not having to go through suspension, as the director, athletic director, originally had stated. That being said, there was bias with Seguin, with athletic director at the time. And I know that my experience with Coach Ridgway was that she was being harassed as well. And my take on everything with kids is that let adults do adults and let kids be kids. Separate the two. As adults, we should be responsible for our kids, all of our kids. We shouldn't have favorites. We shouldn't have biases towards any of them. Coach Ridgway definitely showed that. She didn't have any favorites. She didn't have any, one kid gets this, the other kid doesn't, none of that. She had a standard that she set and expected everyone that wanted to be on the team to follow that. And if you didn't, you wouldn't play or you wouldn't participate, which is teaching valuable life lessons that you have to be able to adhere to the rules set forth in regards to be able to participate or do anything that you want to do. And we all have choices, and she's teaching these kids choices. They make good choices, bad choices. And if they make bad choices, it's not that they can't come back from it and improve on it. They can, and she will help them to do that. She gives them the opportunity for learning from their choices. But always guiding them to try to make the right decisions and the right choices. She was very upfront, which I appreciate. She didn't coddle them. She's preparing them for life outside of high school, outside of volleyball. She's preparing them for life, which I truly, truly, truly appreciate. It was very shocking to learn of her abrupt dismissal.
Ms. Batcher, 5 minutes is up. Final words.
Truly, Seguin and Arlington would be at a loss without Coach Ridgway. The only reason she's there is for the kids and it's evident. And I think everybody should be there for the kids.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Bass, for speaking. Ms. Benjamin, has anyone else shown up? Yeshunda Merriweather. Yeshunda, can you hear me? And more importantly, can I hear you? We'll give it just a second. Okay. Yeshunda, can you hear me? And if, more importantly, can I hear you? If you say something so I can hear you. Yeshunda, make sure you're not on mute. It's always a error I make, I think, almost every time I'm on Zoom. Is she a video going? No video. One more chance. Anything? Is she on there, Frank? Oh, there we go. Yeshunda, can you hear me and can I hear you? Yeshunda, can you say something so I can see if we can hear you? Miss Merriweather, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, and I can hear you. Miss Merriweather, your 5 minutes begins now. At the end of 5 minutes, you will hear a buzzer, and hopefully you heard my statements before. But go ahead, Ms. Merriweather.
I am here to speak on behalf of Coach Ridgway. I have known Coach Ridgway for over 25 years. She, like I am, as Coach Ridgway is an educator, and I know that great educators commit themselves to students beyond the classroom, and that's exactly what Coach Ridgway has done with her girls, which is how she addresses her students and how she refers to them. She is committed to students. She is committed to Seguin and her school. So it is very disappointing to know that Coach Ridgway doesn't have the same commitment that we as educators should have in backing by our administrators. Coach Ridgway encourages her girls in every way. She solicits others to come and watch her girls run because she wants them to know that her investment in them goes far beyond the four walls of a school, that she sees their potential, their lifelong potential. She encourages them. She, as many educators is a surrogate mother to them. She's there for them. She's there for their parents. And we as educators know that one of our greatest challenges is that parent-teacher relationship. And for Coach Ridgway to have the relationship she does with her parents speaks highly to the actual teacher, coach, friend that she has been to her students. She is committed beyond track. She's committed beyond the classroom. She's committed to them lifelong. And I think that it is important that as educators that we have the support of our administrators, we have the support of staff, and that we also have the support of families as she does. It is very disturbing to know that something like what has happened to Coach Ridgway can happen to educators, because every day we go in with our hearts to do what is best for our students and to love them with everything we have, and to know that that can be turned around and used against us, or there can be false accusations made that can possibly tarnish our reputation and or take away our livelihood and what we love to do. It's very disappointing. Katra has a heart like no other. She loves her kids. Her kids love her, as is evidenced by the students, the families that have spoken up for her today. I think it is very important that Arlington ISD realize what a gem they have in her, and that educators like Katra don't come around every single day, and that her commitment to you, to your school, to your students is something that is to be valued, to be honored, and to be respected, and that she deserves a true testament of her abilities, her love for her students, and she honestly deserves that her name not be tainted, and that her reputation is brought back by these accusations. The hurt that has come upon her and her family, the loss that has occurred over this year of this terrible situation that honestly seems like a witch hunt. It seems like someone, and I know this as an educator, one doesn't necessarily have your best interest at heart. It only takes a few people to make a situation very difficult for an educator. And I feel like that's what's happened to Coach Ridgway. And I honestly hope that Arlington ISD will do everything they can to resolve this, to repair the relationship, and to honor her commitment to you in the way that she has honored her commitment to you and your students, because she deserves it.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Merriweather, and thank you for your comments. Frank, we've had 7 of the 10, so the only ones, I have a couple that are missing. Have any others shown up? Perfect. With that, thank you for the speakers. You can always find our email addresses on AISD.net and email us, and I can assure you we may not always reply, but we always read every single one. Next, we'll move to open forum for non-agenda items. Ms. Benjamin, do we have any requesters registered to address the board regarding non-agenda items?
No, sir, we do not.
Thank you, Ms. Benjamin. Next, I'll move to superintendent's report. Dr. Cavazos. Thank you. Do we have any school board reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to Ms. Secretary. Do we have any items to address tonight? Ms. Walton, do we have any items that were?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
No, we
don't
do
think
not.
so. Perfect. It is 5:35 PM. We will move to closed meeting pursuant to sections 551.071 and through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act for the topics set forth on our agenda. We will not be coming back to take action tonight. We will come back just to close the meeting live, but there will be no action taken tonight for everyone to know. With that, I appreciate it. It's 5:35 and we are in closed session. Thank you.